Hi, today I'd like to share with you how to find some basic chords on the piano, and I'll share with you the note names and the groupings. So we'll start with the first chord, which is C major. You'll simply find your C. You're going to skip every other white key. I recommend when you play your chords that you use your pinky, your middle finger, and your thumb on both hands. So C major we can find with C, E, and G. And I would like for you to do the same thing with your right hand as well. Now the best way to quickly memorize this chord and be efficient at finding the chord is to use the length and breadth of the piano and simply set your hands right above and just drop down. You want to avoid setting your hand and trying to stretch your fingers in place. Again, if you use thumb, middle, and pinky on both hands, let them relax and just set them on the chord. The next step would be to keep one hand in place and let your other hand move on the length of the keyboard. The further we get away from each hand, we're going to create sound contrast. So our lows will be low and our highs will be high. You want to practice this with each chord. Your next chord is going to be D major. So we found C, we're just going to step up one note to D. And our notes for this chord is D, F sharp, and A. Now F sharp is your black key here. The next chord is going to be E minor. E, G, B. Now, we can take a minute here to be able to find our major and our minor chords. For every major, there is a minor. You can think of matter and antimatter. Minor is going to sound dark, kind of sad, and a major chord is going to sound happy. Now, if you've landed on a minor chord, and you think to yourself, man, I want the major chord to that. You simply take your middle finger and you raise him a half of step. So if you're on a G, you're going to go up to a G sharp. You've instantly found the major chord. And this applies to all chords on the piano. For instance, if I took A minor, A, C, and E, and I wanted to find the major, A major chord, I would simply raise my C a half a step to C sharp. So I would recommend practicing this as you're studying chords. First, find your minor chord, and then go ahead and raise the middle tone a half a step. For instance, let's try one more as an example. We're going to take D minor, D, F, and A, and if we raise the middle tone a half a step, to F sharp, we have the major. And a couple moments ago, you just played a D major chord, and so you're now familiar with D major. Let's keep moving up. We're going to go to F major. F, A, C. And we match that in both hands. F, A, C. Our next chord is going to be G major. So we're going to step one more step up to G. And the notes found in G major are G, B, and D. And this brings us back to either A minor, or if we raise that middle tone a half a step higher, A major. I hope this helps you to find your chords and gives you some considerations on how to practice efficiently hopping the keyboard. One final suggestion would be to arpeggiate your chords. And to arpeggiate means to break the chord, kind of like harping. And we can do this by simply stacking our notes and crossing our hand over the top to land to the next chord. And to go up the length of the keyboard and back down, keeping your tones even. I recommend using the pedal. It gives a beautiful sustained sound as we play and allows each of those tones to stack consecutively. this exercise helps to increase speed and eye-hand coordination to be able to land right on the chord family. It also gives you the ability to make a beautiful sound while practicing your chords. It's not chaos. Playing your chord families, those tones will always sound good together. And you're practicing technique with being able to move on the keyboard without any sheet music available to you. You'll see as you cross over, the proper technique is to remove your hand out from under. On top, out from under. Several chords that you can practice that will sound good as a progression are as follows. We can do C major, and then we can also do A minor, which is its relative chord, and then back to C major. Now, every major chord does have a minor brother or sister chord, and this allows movement in music. If we stayed just in the major chords, there would be no change, no tension, or resolution in the sound. So when practicing your chords, I recommend going between major and minor. The famous composer Johann Sebastian Bach used a very simple chord progression for his Goldberg variations. And this is G major to D major to E minor, and then back to D major, and then you start again the cycle at G major. One final note on chords. There are 3 different positions in playing our chords. We call these inversions. And you can imagine that the chord simply is rolling over the keyboard. If we find our first chord, let's say we'll use D major for the example. D, F sharp, and A. You're going to notice that there is a D right above, starting the chord again. To find your inversions, what we're simply doing is rolling the chord over. To do that, we take the D from the bottom and we adjust our hand position so that we play the D on top. That means that we have to adjust our fingers to play the F sharp and the A as well. So we keep the top 2 notes, but we're putting them on the bottom now. That's our second inversion of D major, starting on F sharp, A, D. And our third version of D major is going to be to move the F sharp to the top. And we're starting on A, D, F sharp, which you'll notice the next position brings us back home to our D major triad. This is applicable to all chords, so if you want to find the second and third inversion to any chord, simply move the bottom note to the top. F sharp is now on our bottom, we're going to move him to the top, and then we come home. In order to play inversions, you will need to compensate your fingering for the space. I recommend that most people use either 4 or 3 on the bottom, your pointer finger and then your thumb for the second inversion. And then for the third inversion, your pinky on the bottom, your pointer finger in the middle, and your thumb on the top. I hope this helps you today. Have a great day.